Hello again. This is not a review. It's just me looking at a thing and talking about it. This is a 1/100th scale model from Bandai in the Gundam universe, or universes, and it's from the Iron Blooded Orphans series in particular. This one's called Vidar, and it is not a master grade model like most of the 1/100th scales are. It's a full mechanics model like most of the 1/100th scales from Iron Blooded Orphans in particular are. And that just means that it has fewer pieces than a master grade and is simpler in its construction, although it is a bit more complex. Typically, these are typically more complex than high grades. I built this originally just to basic kit specs, and you know what? I ended up not really liking it that much. There's something about the qualities of the plastic that are used for the frame and for the grays. So there are two main grays on this. There's a dark gray, there's a slightly less dark gray. Slightly less dark gray is used for the inner frame especially. And both of those, to me, unfinished, look, I keep saying soapy. Soapy is what it looks like to me. There's a little bit of translucency to this particular blend of polystyrene plastic, and just around the edges, the amount of light that actually gets in there, between the polymer chains, just whatever it does, and combined with the finish on it, just looks kind of like soap to me. And there's just so little visible detail. So I came back after a while of not being satisfied with this thing on display, and did some panel lining in it, tried to get some detail in it. Let me move this out of the way. I typically, for these quick looks, don't like to change my pose very much because I spend a good amount of time setting up a pose to be the way that I want it to be on display. But, so I got some panel lines in there. I also took some markers to it and just tried to add a little bit of detail on the inside. I ended up not liking the blue. Just the finish of the blue, it's a little bit gaudy to me in a few spots where I put that. But, it has an interesting effect. But still, okay, adding the panel lines helps a lot, but it did not help enough. So I'm probably going to come back and give this whole thing, just mask off the eyes, and give the whole thing a satin or semi-gloss top coat. I think that'll help to dull things down and take some of that surface texture that I don't like away from it. That particular amount of shine or lack thereof is just not in a good place, if you ask me. And, so this is not top coated. Some spots have been kind of refinished a little bit where I wanted to take off some nub marks, and then I wanted to leave it with a finish that was similar to the original finish, but some spots are just pure raw plastic. I like the design of this as a mech, and I like most of the Iron Blooded Orphans mobile suit designs in general. There's one other thing that I need to point out here that is customized, but just really quickly, this is more what it looks like closer to a standing pose. I just wanted to have it in a pose that was more dynamic. Stand is not included with this. This is an old school base one from Bandai. You get those for about $10 US on average. Sometimes a little bit cheaper, but that's about it. And sometimes a little bit more expensive. Overall, yeah, I like the dynamism of how this can be posed. These bits here can be opened and closed. They actually work as magazines for a sword. It has these little swords that kind of end up being like lances. You can fire them off. In addition to having the projectile gun there, this is Iron Blooded Orphans, which does not use beam weapons because reasons. Yeah, I like the design, just don't like the finish on it. So this one's going to require a little bit more work from me in the future before I'm more likely to be satisfied with it. But from a distance, it's pretty good. I'm not sure if I actually like the look of the HG version of this, the smaller version, better than this. The gold that you see in there, any silver that's painted in, is just done with markers by me, except for the gold right in here. They actually have some stickers that you wrap around the hip ball joints in there to just give it a little something that stands out, which is interesting. So this is the other thing that I need to point out that is not stock to this kit. The white here and the kind of sand blue, slate blue color here, those parts come from another kit, but are designed for this kit. It's the thing that they did in the line to encourage people to feel like they were getting an extra bonus if they spent more money by getting more kits. So these parts here on the standard kit are just the same color as over here, so it would be relatively symmetrical. But these are parts that came from the grays, or the standard grays or / grays commander kit, which I will show you separately in a separate video as well. So that's a nice touch, and it does definitely help to break up the color scheme just a little bit, but it's still compatible with it. I didn't bring in any of the green color from the standard grays because that just, well, there are some parts that are compatible, but that just looks too weird to me. Hopefully I will feel much, much better about this once I give it a satin coat or a semi-gloss coat. It does have a decent amount of articulation. The IBO kits have a fairly narrow frame, and they tend to expose a lot of their points of rotation just to open air, which is good for articulation and the ability to set up poses because it gives you a lot of room for movement around those joints. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the build of this, although the center is a little bit on the plain side, but even the surface level of detail, the colors and the surface texture together don't work out great for me. More to work on here, and we'll see if I can get this to a place where I am happy with it and as happy with it as I should be for its design. But that's that for now. Thank you for watching. I'm going to leave it in this kind of pose right here, and talk to you again soon. Bye for now.